Thank you so much. First of all, thank you, Ari, and thank you, Jonathan, for putting this together. It's a fabulous place. I really love it. And it's warm, which I like because I'm Greek and it can never be warm enough. And also, when I was growing up, I was really called Ari. I didn't make that up. So these are sort of the three Aris. It sounds like a joke. The three Aris walk into a bar. And what happens next? The country is suddenly saved. So it's actually great that Ari and I are speaking together because there is a real synergy between the two books. He talks about what needs to be done to revitalize the Democratic Party, and that's absolutely essential. And I talk in my book about, as Ari said, the other Ari, what we need to do to revitalize ourselves, our communities, and the country, no matter what the politicians do. Because ultimately, we are not in control of what they're going to do. And while money dominates politics, we are less in control than we should be. Because ultimately, the ones who are in control are the ones who are giving the big donations and sending the lobbyists up on the hill. And at the same time, what gives this a sense of urgency in my book, and why I called it Third World America, even though clearly we're not Third World yet, but because we are on a trajectory to be Third World, what gives it a sense of urgency is the fact that, as Ari said, we have a very active movement at the moment, in the Tea Party movement, which is a function of an enormous amount of anger, frustration, and despair in the country. Movements don't just happen. So we need to be very clear about that. Sure, people now are using movements. You know, the Koch brothers are funding it, and people are organizing, but you don't just organize movements from the top, and nobody knows that better than the two Aris here. So there's something real happening. And if we don't acknowledge that, and if we just think it's just big army and the Koch brothers, then we're going to completely miss what's happening. So while this is happening, we need to acknowledge that it's not just the Tea Party people who are angry. Everybody's angry. I'm angry. Are you angry?
Yes.
We're angry. I mean, look at what happened to the country. I don't mean just what happened in the last 18 months. What's been happening for 30 years? The middle class under assault. You know, we all know kids graduating from college who can't get jobs. We all know people in their 40s and 50s who are losing jobs and can't get another job. You know, there's a major crisis here, but you don't get that sense of urgency in Washington. What Washington is discussing tonight is a complete and utter non-story fabricated by Bob Woodward. The possibility of Hillary Clinton replacing Joe Biden as VP. There is absolutely no truth to it, not even a scintilla of truth. Bob Woodward himself says, some Hillary Clinton advisors, this is like as low on the totem pole of sources as you can get. It probably means a friend of her hairdresser. Everybody, yes, a friend of Mark Penn's hairdresser, actually. So everybody's denying it. There's like no inherent logic to it. There's no historical precedent, unless you go back to 1944 and Henry Wallace. There's nothing to it. And yet, the shows, you can hardly watch anything else. So this is really what the Washington press corps is doing. And that's why it's all the more imperative that we try to understand what's happening and we move from complaining and bitching to action.
Right.
And action is the only antidote to despair and anger, and it will be the only antidote to the Tea Party movement.
Right.
And so, and that's why I'm not going to give you the diagnosis. I have 4 sections where I give you chapter and verse, all the data you may possibly need, and dozens of stories to illustrate what's happening in the country. But the thing that I really talk about, and if you're very busy and you can't read the whole book, please just read section 5. Because it's about solutions, and really that's what matters in the end. Just trust me, we are going to be a third world country if we don't cause harm. If you don't trust me, read the first 4 sections. But if you trust me, go to section 5. Because the first part of Section 5 is about government solutions. As Ari said, it starts with the mother of all reforms, campaign finance reform. It goes on to the need to bring a sense of urgency about the jobs crisis and create the kind of urgency that was created around fixing the financial system. Remember, not fixing it, saving it. They never fixed it. But they saved it because they all came together. When I say they, I mean all the establishments, financial, political, everybody. They came together over a weekend and they basically said, we can't afford to let the financial system collapse. We don't exactly know how to save it, but we're going to throw everything against the wall and we're going to save it, and they did. There was never that sense of urgency around jobs, and there needs to be. There needs to be a coming together of everyone. You Republicans want a payroll tax holiday? Great, you can have it. You Democrats want a huge, bold infrastructure project, which we need anyway. Even if we had full employment, we need it. Because look at what happened in San Bruno, California. It can be happening all around the country. Let's have that. Let's do tax credits for small businesses. Let's do everything, because we cannot afford to have 26 million people out of work or underemployed, while 3 million people this year are going to lose their homes, while every 30 seconds someone declares bankruptcy in this country. So there's a lot more of what government can do. But the second part of Section 5, beginning on page 199, see, I'm giving you the gift notes, is about what we can do right now, beginning tonight, no matter what anybody in Washington or Sacramento or anywhere in America does in terms of politicians. And actually, there are 7 steps. I'm not going to give you all the 7 steps. It's not Alcoholics Anonymous. But the first step begins with bearing witness. We must bear witness to what's happening. We must tell people stories of their struggle and people's stories of overcoming obstacles and turning their lives around. And that's why we launched a section of the Huffington Post called Third World America. And Kirsten, who is here, picked, is one of our editors on the section, and please see her afterwards. And we'd love you to participate. We have an interactive map. And anytime you post a story, there is a star that goes on, and there are hundreds of stories from all around the country. And then we take the most powerful stories and we put them on the front page of the Huffington Post. There are slideshows, there are pictures. It's a constant conversation, bearing witness to what's happening and inspiring others to take action. I'm going to skip some steps to go to the step that Ari mentioned, which is related to building our own financial literacy. We got to understand that the mortgage companies and the credit card companies that are offering us all these great deals do not wish us well. We need to wake up and realize that hidden in the small print are skyrocketing interest rates and tricks and traps, as Elizabeth Warren calls them, that may mean we lose our home. So we need to really now tap into all the amazing resources that exist. Like, do you know hellowallet.com? Okay, I write about it in the book. Hellowallet.com for $5 a month. They can help you organize all your financial life, your debts, your savings, whatever you have, wherever you are. They can help you understand it, make it better. Beyond that is, for me, a critical point, which is giving back. We are focusing at the moment on our deficits and our shortages. The whole debate is dominated by how much we're in debt as a country and how many jobs we don't have. We need to start focusing on our surpluses. We have a surplus of time. 26 million people have no jobs or underemployed. What are they doing with their time? Watching Fox News.
Ew.
Hi, Mario. I see Mario there. Head of communications is over there. He'll get the message out. We have an abundance of skills. A lot of these unemployed or underemployed people are highly skilled people. They have spent tens of thousands of dollars on their education often, and then maybe they're still repaying their student loans, but they don't have jobs, or they don't have they're not as fully employed as they would like to be or as they could be. What are they doing with their skills?